there. Welcome back to Books for Thought. This month for April, we've got a really exciting selection of books that are being brought to us by Dr. Dave Boucher from the York Biomedical Research Institute, and he's also one of the professors at the biology department. Hi, Dave. It's really nice to have you here with us. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Allison. It's very nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
So the way I usually like to start off is just to ask, for the academic to explain a little bit, their background, how they ended up studying biology themselves, what they like about it, what they like about the environment in terms of teaching biology and the way that the students learn at their particular university, in this case, the University of York. Then, any sort of general information you might have for the students with regard to, what are certain attributes or qualities that you find a lot of students who end up studying biology have?
Great. So I was born and raised in Canada, in the French bit. And there I was a very curious kid. So I was always fascinated by life in general. And when I was, I think, in high school, I started getting very interested in biology. And I read this article about plants that were engineered to glow in the dark. And I thought it was fantastic that you can actually understand and play with life like that. So this is where I started to really become interested in biology. So I then did an undergraduate degree in biotechnology, and after that, a PhD in pharmacology. And after that, I went around the world in Australia, in Switzerland, to do postgraduate training. And here I am now in beautiful city of York as a lecturer in biomedical science. I really love it in York. So I think one of the first things that make me choose York actually is the city itself. So when you arrive in York, you just fall in love with York. So it's a beautiful historical city. There's flowers everywhere. It's green. And it's the same thing on the campus. So on the campus, we have 3 big lakes with a lot of birds and green spaces. So it's a great place for students to study and be here.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, with your kind of background and biology being something that can be applied to so many areas, you really probably had quite a bit of options to choose from. So it's interesting to know that that was one of the factors that helped you decide to go with York.
Absolutely. And it's actually one of the strengths in York as well. So we have fantastic research. So we have research in all kind of areas. So I'm doing biomedical research, but we have fantastic ecological research, microbiology, cell biology, neuroscience, a lot of different things. And we're very interdisciplinary. So we like to work together and push the boundaries of knowledge. And I think something that is really cool for students here is that our teaching is research-led. So the academic that will teach you based on their own research. So you'll be kind of at the forefront of science when you got that. And so we got like a really good quality of teaching, and it's something also I really like because it's nice to be part of something where you know that you're making a difference and that all of your colleagues also want to provide the best quality of teaching to the students because we deeply care about them. So yeah.
Great. And thinking about this research, and it's so practical, and from day one, they're really able to see how what they're studying can connect to the real world, both in terms of future professions, and just in terms of interests in general. I'm thinking about the books that you chose for this month. Book 1, you've selected Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Exactly. And book 2, we've got The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And I think both, really do show the ways in which biology can be connected to so many other things, and the ways in which you can adapt what you're studying or connect what you're studying to many other things. And so nearly anything you pick up, you're going to be able to see correlations and connections to what you're doing in the classroom, in the lab. And I think a lot of our students would find that really interesting. So let's start with book one, Sapiens. Tell us a bit what it's about and why you think this is a good option for students who are curious about biology.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book. So that book was given to me by a previous student I mentored, and I wasn't sure at the beginning because it's quite a big book and it can be a bit scary. But actually, when you start reading it, you really jump into it, and it's so interesting. So it's basically a book about what makes us human and how, through history, we become humans. So hundreds of thousands of years ago, we were about 6 different species of human-like organism, if you want. And in the end, Homo sapiens are the only one who survived the whole journey. And the book is about why we survived. So this book is kind of split into 4 different parts. So there's a cognitive revolution, agricultural revolution, a unification of humankind, and scientific revolution. And all of those parts will illustrate different ways that make us human. And it's filled with interesting hypotheses and anecdotes. So for example, the authors thinks that gossiping is actually something that made human a superior species because they could hypothesize what was happening elsewhere. And this fear that was created with the gossiping was actually allowing individuals to stick together and form a society kind of thing. And I always thought it was interesting because, you know, sometimes you think that gossiping is not a good thing, but maybe it is somehow.
At least for survival, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's quite interesting to see those things through those perspectives. And I guess what I like about this book is that it brings together a bit of history, a bit of science as well, and also some sociology. So it's kind of a nice interdisciplinary mix of different things that make us human. And it's a really well written book as well. So super interesting.
Yeah, and I think especially, you know, for people who are curious, like, as you said, you were when you were younger, curious about life, curious about us, how we came to be who and what we are now. This is probably a really good book in terms of a possible introduction or going a little bit deeper, depending on what the level they have. And all these little anecdotes, I think, would also be really, really interesting for them and help them understand that this is not just about, you know, memorizing facts. No, it's really connecting information to everything else out there and really being able to satisfy your curiosity about how we work and why these things have happened the way they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
And in a similar vein, we've got book 2, no? The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This one's it's a fiction novel, of course, and it is quite different. No, we've got a post-apocalyptic setting, and even the structure of the book itself, as you were mentioning to me earlier, is a little bit different, right? We don't have character names, and it's all just sort of a bit of a darker setting, no? But we can still get an idea of how what we're learning about or what we see in terms of different fields of biology can be applied and can be interesting even for books like this. Huh?
Absolutely. So it's a very dark book in a way that it's all the action happened in the close future that is post-apocalyptic. So life is almost ending on Earth, and the father and his son are escaping basically the fire. There's fire everywhere in the book, and they want to go to the sea, and they just walk on the road all the time, and they sleep sometime. But and it's very interesting. But it kind of makes you realize that we really need to take good care of the environment around us, and especially, you know, for students who have maybe interest in ecology or conservation. That's a fantastic book because it gives you another perspective on things. So it's yes, it's apocalyptic, but it's still realistic. So it's something that could happen maybe if we don't take care enough. And biology and ecology are actually two science that care a lot about what's happening now and how we can, maybe biology and ecology are two science that are very important actually if we want to prevent that. Because we need to understand how our ecosystems are working, for example, if we want to prevent their degradation, because we're all dependent on each other and on each part of the world, right? So if we don't want to get there, that's good. And I guess I read the book during COVID, which maybe is not something I recommend to students, but it kind of gave you an interesting perspective as well, because the pandemic is changing the way we're living as individuals as well. And I guess it's a bit similar to this kind of apocalypse. It's kind of situation that change your life strongly and make you put things in perspective as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think, as you were mentioning before, because we see all of these, the aftermath, of not worrying about the environment, not worrying about life on our planet, it's also a motivation in a way, for the students who are interested in science, for example, interested in life, how it works, and who are also wanting to maybe make a difference, but maybe they're not thinking about biomedicine, maybe they are, but that there's, you can have an impact within all the different branches of sociology, not just biomedicine, for example. While that is very important, we can see that people who are working in ecology, conservation, those things also are going to be important for the future.
Yeah, more than ever. And you've been asking before what the student we had here have in common, and outside curiosity, they want to make a difference in the world. And I think that's, as you mentioned, biology is a nice science for that, because you can actually tackle different kind of problem to solve those problems, which is great somehow. Yeah.
And Dave, at the University of York, I understand that there are opportunities for students who want to gain a more general or a broader knowledge in terms of biology, and then they can sort of, go more and more specific as they realize what their particular interests are, but that there's also a really wide variety in terms of, if they have an idea from the beginning, to go into things that are more specific. That's the case, right?
Absolutely. So during the first year, you will have actually quite a general curriculum that cover a different angle. So sometimes actually you think you're interested in something, but then when you get taught new topic, you're like, oh my God, that's the thing I really like now. And it kind of broadens your horizon, which is fantastic. But then over the years, on second year and third years, you will get involved in something that's much more precise, and you can decide which part of science you like and where you want to specialize. Another nice thing as well is students also have the chance to get in the lab and work with academics in their third years. So we have like a very nice long project in the third year that allows students to really taste what is research in those areas, to make sure they really like it.
And to exactly get that first taste, cut their teeth on what they think, at least at that moment, is something that they're going to want to maybe develop professionally when they finish. So I think really, really cool and really important.
I just wanted to mention, we also have a tutorial for first and second year students where they will meet in small group of 5 to 6 students per academic, and they can choose the academic they want to work with. And so they can choose that according to the topic they like. And then every week they will discuss with the academic about the research they're doing and where they can go. They will learn how to interpret data and things like that. So it's a very nice way actually also to specialize into a specific field of interest, I guess, as well.
Oh, so even the students who decide to go for a more general degree still have those opportunities from the beginning to start going into specific
Yeah.
fields in more depth.
It's a great way to explore as well, because the more things you try, the more you'll know what you like and where you want to go. So yeah, that's a great opportunity.
Fantastic. Well, Dave, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm sure that our students are gonna hop onto Amazon or go to their local book providers if possible and get these books and start reading. And to the viewers, just a reminder, if you've got any questions about these books or any questions for Dave in terms of the university, biology, etc., feel free to give me a call and I can pass them on to him and we'll go from there. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next month. Bye.